Hello YouTube, Dave here again. Just a few days ago, Wizards of the Coast put up an announcement saying that in January they are going to be releasing another gaming accessory referred to as Dungeon Tiles Reincarnated. So it seems like they're really sticking with the Reincarnated name for some of their releases or updates for products. Kind of not a huge fan of the name. I'm hoping that they decide to change that. I mean, I thought it was cheesy with the DM screen, but now that they're doing it with the tiles as well, I'm not too big on the Reincarnated, especially since 5th edition hasn't actually released any tiles as of yet. But anyway, that's a whole other side rant. But basically what it means is that they are re-releasing what I suspect to be the 4th edition D&D Essentials tile sets, because looking at their advertisement, it's broken down the same way. It's 3 separate sets, which I think retail for $24.99 US, which will probably be in the $30 range Canadian, and it's labeled as the 3 sets are referred to as the Dungeon, the Wilderness, and the City. So it looks like it's basically going to be more or less the same thing. The one major difference, however, is that each of these original 4th edition sets, when they came out, only had 10 sheets, 10 durable double-sided sheets. So the Reincarnated version is going to have 16 sheets. So there's actually going to be 6 extra sheets worth of stuff. So what I'm going to do is just kind of look over some of the basics of what to expect from these tiles, and there's one set in particular that I want to sort of discuss and hope that Wizards of the Coast makes some changes to. So the first one I thought we'd look at would just be the Dungeon tile set. So again, I don't know how they're going to package the newer versions, but I suspect it'll probably be something similar with just the paper sleeve over top of the box itself. And I actually really like this sleeve. I liked the way that the 4th edition Essentials lines, I like the way that they made their products looked. I actually like, the cover and everything. But anyway, now in this one I do have some of the original 3rd edition or 3.5 dungeon tiles. So there was a set that I kind of mixed in with this because they were all dungeon themed. But I'm not going to go through each of the individual things because that's just way too much to go through. But again, just sort of give you guys an idea of sort of what to expect. So the tiles are just, the double-sided and of various sizes. Most of them have one side that has some sort of thing featured on it, and the other side is typically just blank. So if you just want to make a large room, for example, then you can do that as such. But you can also have, features in there. Anything that you kind of want. So you can just design certain things such as this. And you can even have things like doors. Let's have it be a closed door. Alright. So you can just kind of do, stuff more or less like this with it. So it's just designed, it's just a bunch of random tiles that, again, have something on, usually on one side, and a blank set on the other. Now, the Dungeons set did come with a large, one of the things was just a large tile which is blank on one side, but had like a tavern. I think another one looked sort of like a library that they had available for the larger tile sets. And I always really like these sets. There's just a lot of really cool stuff on here, and it can be a lot of fun. Now, the one issue with these tiles, I will say that as I just kind of show off some of these here, is that you can they even go as small as just a single square, like a pile of skulls or a brazier. So there's a lot of really cool stuff that you can do with this. The issue is that it is sort of time consuming, and the tiles are really easy to sort of disrupt and bump around and have them sort of go all over the place. So it is, again, quite easy for them to go and get shifted. And actually, come to think of it, I think this was actually from the 3.0 ones. I don't think they had one this full size. It's been 7 years since this came out, so I kind of forget what all was in there. But that's kind of, again, sort of what to expect. It's just, dungeon features for the dungeon set. But I like the fact that most of them have a blank side on one side, so you can just, again, if you just want to focus on making rooms, or you don't have tiles that sort of match what it was that you had planned, then you can just, sort of go ahead and, just make a blank room. I also really like the box, so I hope that they keep the box sort of similar, where it actually sort of looks like, it actually has a little bit of design to it. You see like some pillars, and the top of it even has a grid, so, if you wanted like a raised platform, for example, you could actually use the box itself. So I hope that's something that they do keep. There's no reason sort of not to, but we'll kind of see. Now, this one has sort of a textured feeling to it. I suspect that the actual release when it comes out will have probably a cardboard box similar to the 5th edition starter set. But anyway, so the next one here is just the Wilderness. And again, you see something very, very similar. I've used these tiles quite a bit. You've probably seen them in some of my earlier videos. But again, a lot of really cool stuff here. For example, a bridge with, river, a pond, raised like elevation. So there's just, again, a lot of really cool tiles. And the Wilderness one I think was my favorite because it's just, sometimes it's fun just to grab some random tiles and just kind of throw something together and see kind of what you can make with it. What kind of things that you can possibly do. So again, just a lot of really cool, really great tiles that came with these sets. And hopefully, that's the second time a helicopter's flown over. I'm trying to do this video, so hopefully it doesn't pick up too loudly. But I'm not going to stop it this time around. But anyway, so again, you got like roads, streams, just a lot of really great, tiles. So again, this is probably something that you can sort of expect to have. Oh. And I guess just as an example, here is a sheet that hasn't actually been punched out yet. So that's sort of what you can, again, kind of expect them to look like. So with 16 sheets, you're going to get more than what actually came in the 4th edition one. Now I'm wondering if it's possible that they may include, if I can get to it here, because I did use this for extra storage as well. I'm wondering if they may include some sort of like seasonal things or environmental things, like in this case I have my copy of the Caverns of Icewind Dale tiles. This was for 4th edition. I believe this came out after D&D Essentials was released, but it wasn't necessarily part of the D&D Essentials line. Now this has 6 sheets in it, so basically this with that, with these here, would constitute 16 sheets, and this just has basically like, some winter stuff or frozen wasteland type of things in here. So hopefully, like I said, it might be an opportunity for them to do something with that as well, to have some sort of environmental or seasonal based things like, desert for wilderness, or swamps, wastelands. Hopefully they'll do something along those lines to sort of make the extra 6 tile sheets really enhance the product itself. Now these actually were still available as these sets up until even I think recently. There's even a couple of stores in the province that I live in that still has at least one of these sets actually in their store, which is kind of crazy to think of. Now the price, actually I should look at these as well, because the price was $19.99, so it's a 50% increase basically in the price, or not a 50%, it's 25% increase because I think it's $24.99. So it's gone up $5, though I suspect the Canadian price is probably going to be in the $30 range, similar to what the Adventure Grid was like. But this is the one that I actually wanted to talk about the most. So this is the city set. And I was really hopeful actually when I picked this up, because I really wanted to have some stuff for city-based encounters. Having like pre-made buildings of things like, I mean, I have the tavern, but it would be nice to have like a shop, or like an inn with rooms and stuff like that. I was really hopeful that the city tiles would have that. And what the city tiles basically did was really kind of disappoint, because what you have instead, or what you had, and this is Wizards of the Coast's best chance to sort of rectify or fix this, were tiles that just had like sections of buildings. And it was actually really difficult to find ones that you could use that actually make the building significantly larger. So a lot of times you're kind of stuck with stuff like this, but that's plain and featureless. Like that's, you know, it's a floor, but there's nothing there. It's like there's no actual decoration or aesthetics that went into it, which again was always sort of disappointing for me. And I really, of all the sets, I mean, you can actually see, just bringing this forward, this set still has, you know, a lot of their sheets intact. So very few of these I've actually taken out, and this one even still has the cardboard insert. Like the other two, I took the insert out of because I had other stuff I wanted to store in there. So that was this one. Like that shows how little I've used it, that I haven't even bothered to take that out yet. The one cool feature though that I will say about a lot of these city tiles, and something that I do hope that they keep, is let's see if I can find some here that actually have it, because a lot of these have like. So some of them have like harbors and sort of like the internals of the city, but some of the other tiles, when I get to them here, have, you know, just basically floors, but they also have sewers. And the sewer tiles are great. I actually love the sewer tiles, and this is what made the set worth it to me. This is what I've gotten the most use out of, even though you know, there's still, some of these are still punched in. I haven't run a lot of sewer-based stuff. I did get to use it a couple of times for some smaller adventures, or smaller encounters, basically. So I didn't get to do a whole heck of a lot with it, but again, there's just a lot of really cool sewer stuff that you can do with these tiles, and that's something that I hope that they definitely keep. But I would still like to see more actual buildings, instead of just like these pieces here that you put together to make to make a building. There's only so much you can kind of do with them, and again, there's nothing aesthetically to them. So you'd have to stack other tiles on them if there's ones that have things like furniture or. Oh. That one fell out again. Like a lot of these I just haven't actually taken off here. But anyway, so that's the biggest thing that I wanted to talk about, was the city tiles, because they're the ones that kind of, again, I just didn't use them. Even when I was running encounters in a city, I would just pick out some of the town maps that I got from old dungeon magazines, because I found that those were better. You know, I want something that has, you know, like a center of town fountain type of thing, and even if you had something with like exteriors of buildings that you could use, or rooftops or stuff like that, because, you know, you may be doing an encounter that involves doing things on rooftops, jumping from like rooftop to rooftop, or, you know, just things along those lines. So the city ones, I'm hoping that they actually redesign, because I actually wanted something kind of like, you know, this. You've got the rooftops, you've got like the grid on them, so you can actually do stuff with them, but this is the only place that exists, is on the cover of the box itself. So something like that would have been really useful. Keep the sewer tiles for sure, because those are great, but with those 6 extra sheets, use them for actual buildings. You know, double side them, make them larger tiles, have things like, you know, inns where you've got your rooms, common rooms, places where encounters can take place. Have some alleyways, for example, something like this maybe, with rooftops that you can have ambushes take place on, but have the actual aesthetics, so that it looks like, you know, you can see that it's obviously a rooftop and you got your characters going through the alleyway when they could be potentially ambushed. So stuff like this I really think needs to be in the city set. Overall, I'm interested in this product. Now, with the dungeon tiles themselves, I mean, even the city ones have some use, especially with the sewers or the docks. You know, the harbor tiles are pretty decent. So I think with the accessories, with these tile sets coming out in January, I'm looking forward to them, because honestly they're going to be hard to screw up. And I kind of want to talk about this in a separate video, but a lot of the accessories that have come out this year so far in 2017 have been lackluster at best. Very disappointed with several of the accessories that I was really looking forward to. So the thing that I know for sure is that these tiles are going to be decent enough that it's going to be a good product. So I don't think I'll be able to get them all, though, at the same time. With the essential sets, what they actually did was they staggered them over the course of 3 months. They came out like separately, and I think it was like the dungeon was first, the wilderness was second, and the city was the third one to release. But it looks like, unless they change things, in January they're just going to be releasing all 3 sets at the same time. So that's going to be $75 US and probably 90 some odd, close to $100 Canadian. So I'm not going to be picking them all up at the same time. I'm probably going to have to stagger them out over the course of 2 or 3 months. But I think what I want to know is, which of the 3 potential ones do you guys want me to pick up first? If I can only afford to pick up one of them when they come out, which is the one that you want me to do the first video for? Do you want it to be the dungeon, do you want it to be the wilderness, or do you want it to be the city? So let me know what you guys think as far as that goes. Let me know if you're excited for this product. These are really cool tiles. Like I said, the only major issue is that they are very time consuming to use. You want to basically have everything picked out before the game starts, and you still have to go through and actually set everything up. And the other small issue with them is where they're just flat edges on flat edges, and they're got sort of a glossy texture to them. They slide around really easily. So if I can make one more suggestion to Wizards of the Coast, is find a way to, you don't necessarily have to do this, but if there was a way to have the tiles interlock with one another, then that would be great. If you could actually have them so you got like the hook and the the cranny, I guess is the word to use, I guess, to actually fit together. Similar to what the Dungeon Command tiles did, because those things were fantastic. And something like the D&D cooperative board games have tiles that interlock. So something like that would be really great and really useful as well. So hopefully, if you can do that with some of them, that would be fantastic. I know it's probably something that's not going to be feasible for all the tiles, especially like the 1-inch square ones will be pretty difficult to use, but the 1-inch square ones are fine because they're easy to just set on top of something. But when you've got the large ones that you're trying to connect together for rooms and hallways, having them so that they're not going to just like fly apart when somebody moves a miniature and just puts a little bit too much force on it would be great. But that's the most minor of things. The major thing is make the city tiles, the building tiles, actually look more impressive. Make the building tile something that you actually want to have, and not just, in my opinion, kind of an ugly blank pieces of buildings to fit together and try to make a building out of, but with no features or nothing to actually make it look like it's not just something that you could do really on the D&D Adventure Grid just by drawing lines. So that's my major thing. But again, I'm optimistic for these tiles. I think it's going to be very difficult for Wizards of the Coast to disappoint with the tile sets. I know like the dice and the Adventure Grid haven't really lived up to what I was hoping for them. But I am looking forward to these tile sets because, again, as long as they are anything like these, which I suspect that they are, in fact, I believe that the 10 sheets are going to be probably, unless they do something with the city ones, for example, I think the 10 sheets out of the 16 are going to be the same things, basically, the exact same ones, just reprinted. But we'll see what happens. Again, I'm looking forward to it. Let me know what you guys think, if you're interested in the tiles, or if you'd rather have maps, or, or if you're fine with just using the grid. And for anybody that's interested, let me know also which of the 3 sets you want me to get first, based on the assumption that I probably won't be able to get all 3 of them at the same time. So thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you next time.